it's Mel Colley from rubcolley.com, and today I'm going to share with you the techniques I use in the corrective exercise for the shoulder bridge using the glutes and the hamstrings. Okay, so usually start with the beginners lying down on the mat with the feet and knees in line with the hip bones, and the ankles are relatively close to the sit bones, more or less underneath the knees. The hip bones are level, and we're going to try and start the position in a neutral pelvis position. So the hip bones are level and in line with the pelvic bone, with the rib cage soft and relaxed, so we're not arching the back. The hands on the floor, and if you press the shoulders back, we're engaging the muscles in the shoulders and in the middle of the back to keep those shoulder blades down the back and allow the upper trapezius muscle to release, and just working the middle and lower traps and the lats. Okay, so without lifting your toes either, so allow your big toes to stay relaxed on the floor, we're just going to lightly squeeze the glutes and start to just gently flatten the back into the floor, and using the hips and the pelvic bone, rolling yourself up into a shoulder bridge position. So you're resting on your shoulders without resting all the way on your neck. The hips stay level, and as you lengthen the knees away from you, just open up the hips. So your lower rib is a little bit, your bottom rib is a little bit lower than your hips. So it's very common to see clients do this because they're trying to really think that the higher they are, the better it's going to be, which in a case is true, but I really want you to work on the glutes, she says, grabbing her ass, rather than arching your back and using your back muscles. So allow the ribs to feel as if they're shifting and dropping to the floor. This is where we want the work to come from, not your lower back or your middle back muscles. Okay, so you can see, you can have a little look at what you're doing. Your hands can be here on your hips. You can see if they're level. You can see if your knees are even. And then as you start to roll yourself down, you come through the spine, bone by bone, trying to get the middle of your back on the mat before the tailbone. So try not to jam it in. If you've got a hyperlordotic spine and very tight in your hip flexors, you might not be able to get all the way into the floor, which is fine, as long as you're not arching the back as you come down, which is another common trait. If you can see that what I'm doing with my back, is the tailbone dropping down first before the middle of the back. That's a big no-no, because you're just going to, again, arch the pelvis and you'll feel pain in the back, and we're just increasing tension. So we're trying to tuck under as we roll back. So the last thing to come down is your tailbone. So that's starting from a beginner's position. And we'll go into the inner range holds, where we'll come up here and we'll hold for about 10 seconds, and we'll repeat that 10 times. Really working on the glutes. Now watch your neck as well. I know we're working on the glutes, but just focus on every single muscle in the body. So trying to not create tension in the neck by the chin dropping back, so we're keeping the chin gently tucked in. And we don't really want a towel or anything behind the head at this stage, because that tends to, when you're up in this position, that tends to bring the head forward and it just creates tension in the neck. Okay, so from there, once you're happy and you can do 10 second holds on the inner range, we'll come to a block or a box. So I've got the box from the reformer. And if you, obviously not everyone's got a reformer, which is fine. So you can use a chair or a stool, or if you've got a step at home, you can use a step, like when you're doing like a Reebok step class. Okay, so we're going to start with both feet on the box, in the same position, finding neutral first, hands on the floor, sucking the shoulders back into the mat, tucking the chin in, and as you breathe out, lightly squeeze the glutes and roll yourself up into that shoulder bridge position. Okay, level hips, knees reaching long and rolling back down. So you're getting more height, so you can get more movement here into the hips, which is great if you're quite tight in the hips. Really opens up the hips, especially if you spend a lot of time sitting and the hip flexors get quite short and tight. So we'll progress from there by lifting one leg. This is where it gets good fun, and you really get to work the glutes. Okay, so now you're going to roll up using just one leg. Oh, excellent, and then roll yourself down. I love this exercise. And again. making sure those hips don't drop. Now, you might have one weaker side. My left side tends to be a little bit weaker than my right. So it can be quite hard work. So you can really feel it, and you'll start to feel it burning in your glutes. So just being careful, just watch your hips all the time, which is a great idea so you're not dropping your head back. And watching that rib cage isn't overarch either, so you're not really taking it into the back. Otherwise you're going to be up here, and and all that weight is going to come back onto here, and you'll find it hard to breathe. So again, we're going for about 10 repetitions, and then we're going to change sides. Rolling up, holding it steady, coming down, and again not arching the back, making sure you roll through the spine, trying to get each vertebrae into the mat. And from there, we can progress to a straight leg option. So you've had the bent knee, and then we're going to lengthen the lever, which adds extra weight as you roll up. Try not to shift. You can see my pelvis was shifting then, so I'm trying to bring it back to being level and rolling it back down. As if you're trying to push the ceiling away and keep that leg as straight as you can. Now if you start to get cramping in the hamstrings, take it down a level to where you were, and you'll soon build up the strength. But also cramping can be a sign that you are overdoing it, but also it can be a sign of dehydration or lack of magnesium. So if you still get cramping after you've been practicing for a while, then just check your hydration levels and drinking about 1 litre of water for every 50 pounds that you weigh. And magnesium about 400 to 600 milligrams a day. Okay. So from there, we need to add a stability challenge. So we remove the box, say goodbye. Bring it over there. Lovely. And we replace it with the ball. This is where it becomes good fun. So now we've got a little bit of movement going on, so we need to be a little bit more stable in our centre. But you've been practicing for quite a while now, so don't rush the little techniques that you've been going through. And from here, going into that stability ball challenge, where we're trying to stay stable here in the pelvis as we roll up. And there's many different ways you can do this. Also go for the straight leg option. So the further away the ball is from you, the harder it's going to be. This is where you find some little imbalances as well. It really highlights if you're stronger on one side or weaker on one side, if you're pressing down on one leg more than the other. Okay, so when you're used to doing that, doing about 10 repetitions, you can add a little challenge by bringing the ball in, pushing it away. 10 to 12 repetitions, sucking the shoulders back, squeezing those glutes. And from there, similar to what we were doing on the box, you can take it an extra level by taking one leg up, bend the knee or straighten the leg. Let's start with the bent knee. Okay, trying not to roll that other foot off the ball. Lifting and lowering. Aiming for about 10 to 12 repetitions on each side. And then you can progress onto the straight leg, pushing the foot into the ceiling. And obviously going on to the other side. Okay, so that's just working through the levels, different levels that you can do on the stability ball and on the box. And if you haven't got a stability ball, don't worry, it's the end of the world. If you've got a smaller ball, like, or if you've got a medicine ball, which would be great, you can use a medicine ball, which is quite stable, or sometimes in class we use a small squishy ball. But again, we're getting into a more advanced levels now, where you've got more of a stability challenge, you haven't got any back issues or shoulder issues, and the glutes are now pretty strong and they're connecting and firing correctly. Because then you're working with, again, the instability of the ball by rolling yourself up and down and adding that one leg challenge with a bent knee or a straight leg. Okay, So there you go, you can see how you can work through the different stages so you get stronger through your weeks of training in the corrective exercise classes that I hold on a Wednesday morning here in Cornwall. Okay, have a little go, have some fun, and let me know how you get on at melcollie.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.